Dude, I would be drawing so many dicks and fucking tagging dicks everywhere.
Beautiful dicks, though.
that girl
You'd
goes
be the
over.
Banksy of dicks.
That girl goes over to Shantytown, sees like this big dick. That's my dad. That's my dad right there.
That's my dad. That's his dick.
Somebody drew my
Wow.
dad as a dick, and I appreciate that. My dead dad that just died in a tornado.
Okay,
Oh,
with that, are you ready?
yeah, after we're done talking about dicks. Welcome back to Anime Casuals. I'm Lucky. Here I go! This hand of mine is burning red!
And I'm Michael. Realize the only ones who should kill are those who are prepared to be killed.
Johnny.
Your darkness swallowed up my son? Who decided that?
Erupting! Burning!
Now all of you.
Die.
Three, two, ah.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? Welcome back to Anime Casuals. I am Lucky.
And I am Michael.
I'm a Johnny.
And we are Anime Casuals. That did not feel good to say. And as always, we're back at it with the casual discussion where we talk about everything with a casual twist of some sort. I gotta figure out something like to constantly say in the beginning of that. I just haven't figured out what it is yet because we're casual here. Today on our casual discussion, we're gonna be talking about worst, best, I don't know, most evil. Organizations in anime. I mean, there's a lot of them. I actually had some trouble trying to narrow this down, but Michael, since you came up with this idea, I thought maybe why don't you start?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I was just talking to Johnny, just literally saying, okay, what's the difference between a villain group and an evil organization? So that's what I struggle with. And I actually put mine into two separate categories.
Oh, fancy.
But I will start with what I consider evil organizations. I'm going to start with one that's not one you guys are going to pick, hopefully. We're going to start with the basic one called the Rare Hunters. So the Rare Hunters are from Yu-Gi-Oh! They're the people who are charged by Merrick to go out and steal all the competitors in Kaiba's tournament and take their rare cards. So rare hunters.
Yeah. Now
the reason why I picked them first as a low ball, they're not like the most evil organization, but they are big a-holes, right? Like I remember them going after Joey, and Joey's like, "No, this is my rare card. Yugi gave it to me." And I'm like, "Oh, poor Yugi, like poor Joey, like you're gonna take his Red Eyes Black Dragon," which apparently was a very rare card, and
it sucks, dude.
You never see another one. Probably see one more.
That's true, but it sucks on the same level that Blue Eyes sucks. It doesn't do anything except for it's big. But it even sucks worse because it's smaller than Dark Magician and like all these other things that are like 2,500 and that one's at like 24. So like I thought they were just big a-holes. They're like run-of-the-mill a-holes, like an advanced mafia who are just going out to steal. And that's the thing. The worst thing is that they're also just taking rare cards from like kids and random pedestrians who like aren't good and aren't going to be able to fight against these classic amazing decks. Like this guy who has like 17 copies of Exodia in his deck has invisible vision to look through his cards. I'm like, what kind of random like kid is going to be able to stand up to that kind of cheating? So Rare Hunters, giant a-holes.
Damn, dude. I was always like, I always wanted to see like what would happen if they rolled up on some dude and he was like a fucking fighter or something like that, and they're just like, "We want to take your cards. Let's duel for him." It's like, "No, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you." What? And it's just some guy just beating the shit out of somebody and like, "Hey man, if you want to steal my cards, man, I'm gonna take it seriously." So
yeah. Johnny, I figured I wouldn't have taken yours because I feel like I put one that you would know on my list. So I'm not gonna take yours.
Okay. My first one, and again, hopefully I'm thinking of this in the right vein. It's going to be Baroque Works from One Piece.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Man, I kind of in the same vein you were talking about. They're just a group of people who are just messing with everything.
Yeah. Low key mafia.
Yeah, Crocodile comes in here. He even has like the big like fur jacket that he doesn't actually wear.
That's very true.
Like it's just over his shoulders, kind of like the Admirals, actually. I mean, that's a big wow. But yeah, he comes in and he just wrecks an entire country. I mean, he just I was gonna say bleeds it dry, but that's
That's
weirdly counterintuitive. I don't know why I didn't want to say it.
he sucked it dry.
Yeah. Man, yeah. And they mess up a lot of people and they cause a lot of problems for Luffy and his crew. So scaling him kind of like in terms of bad people. He's my first choice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be honest, with the
Works.
Baroque Works, they're not outright like killing people constantly, right? Like
Mhm.
they're kind of just like, we've got our finger on the pulse of the country and we want all your money. But like that's kind of the extent where Crocodile leaves it, right? Like I
Yeah.
don't remember him going, he withered a few people, but I mean, like,
Nah, he just wanted to control the country. From
exactly. Yeah, exactly. And he didn't even kill the king. So it was like, he's like, yeah, we can do a deal here. We can do a deal. Like if he really wanted to control the country, just assassinate that king and then he just takes place. And when people are like, no, that's not right, he's like, I don't care.
I wonder if he could just sand a bigger country now.
I mean, very true. He's powered up since then. And
Anyway.
it's a little bit more friendly.
Well, I would sure hope so. I mean, that's actually a really good point. I never really thought about how much influence Crocodile had, but you don't think about that until like after a while, and you're like, wow, that guy had a whole fucking country. I mean, it's mostly desert, but damn, he had a whole fucking kingdom. But man, anyway, the first one I wanted to highlight was kind of a strange one, and I think I put it on this list because just the frequency that they've come up in to the point where I'm actually seeing them in another series, which is the Oración Seis, which I forget what it means. It means like prayer six or something like that. But it's this group that originally happened in Fairy Tale, and it's exactly how it says.
Of course it did.
And so anyway, they end up coming and they get their butts beat, right? And they're trying to like resurrect some crazy dark presence or anything like that. Anyway, they come back later in the series, and it's like, hey, we're the new Oración Seis, and it's like, what? That's crazy stuff, right? And then all of a sudden, at the very end of it, it ended, right? And then all of a sudden, sorry, there's a 49er game going on in the background, so my family's going crazy. Anyway, there's this little anime that's also from the Fairy Tale group called Eden Zero. All of a sudden, they have an Oración Seis in that universe, and I'm like, wow, they're just everywhere. And I don't know what this Oración Seis is going to do, but I'm assuming it's probably going to be to do something evil. But I think it's just the prevalence of them in two different series that I was like, I don't think I've ever seen that before, because usually the Fairy Tale people, like, they bring different little, like, animals or something like that. Like, they brought Happy over, they brought Plu over from three different series, but bringing a whole freaking, like, organization, and some of them even look similar to the ones in Fairy Tale. I guess you can't ever stomp out evil completely, even if you change the series. So anyway, Oración Seis.
True. So in the effort of stepping this up slightly, and maybe overstepping my boundaries. Also, I have like 10 organizations from One Piece on my list. Is the Great Tomb of Nazare. Theoretically, right, they are villains in their anime of Overlord, because they're all like creepy monster people and everybody else is like normal human / not dead. And the way they're introduced into the world, right, beyond him going, I'm in a video game, is we must take over the world. But we're going to do it one step at a time and to really see if there's any other player characters out there. Like that. That's what Einzelgon's like initial motivation to do that is. But the way he goes about it is overwhelmingly terrifying. Like he sent out big goo balls with mouths that he called goats. And he's like, yeah, we'll send those out and we'll kill this army. And then like after annihilating part of this lizard army, he's like, hey, you want to be part of my army? You're cool monster people. We're cool monster people. And they're like, oh, yes, you're very scary. We'll work for you. And then the humans that are next door, when like he's like masquerading as a knight, he's like, no, we're gonna take you out. And if you were a human in this world, you'd be like, oh yeah, we've got the power. And then like all these crazy monsters just start overwhelming you and start destroying. It's very different from slime. Slime's like, we're peaceful, let's be friends. Like,
nope.
Einzelgon's like, no, F off. We're gonna take over the whole world, and you're in my way.
You're
sorry.
all in my house right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I need you to leave.
So, and I figure that's a nice step up because he's taken over a few different countries in the area, but really hasn't like mass murdered too many people. So, yeah, I think that's a nice step in the right direction.
A lot of lizard people, though.
Yeah, a lot of lizard people. And on top of that, like he's kind of working for good, but I mean, in general, like he doesn't care because he's a lich.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
My next one is gonna be and I'll be honest, I don't know if there's a connection between all these groups, but I was gonna say Team Rocket and their subsequent nonsense teams that come up. Team Mystic, Team Magma, Team
Galaxy.
Aqua. I feel like they all just branched off. Someone just thought, okay, it didn't work the first time. Let's try it again, but with a different theme. So I think they're all just Team Rocket in disguise.
You know, on that, I like the theory. I don't know if you guys have heard of the theory about Giovanni. That Giovanni started Team Rocket in order to battle all of these other like different groups that are trying to take over the world. Because in essence, like Team Rocket's motto, right, is like to fight for peace and love. And like
he's like he's the good guy or something.
Yeah, and then every line of Team Rocket that they say is a different member, like a different group.
Yeah,
that it can be applied to, and like that's their motto is to fight all of these other groups, so that way they don't take over the world. And then Giovanni is just like this mafia guy in the background.
I do remember hearing something like that at one point, and I always thought that was really funny.
But in general, they're fighting kids and taking their Pokemon, so that's not good.
No, totally. And I mean, that's why they're kind of like the worst people, because they're just stealing people's Pokemon. And even from like the lowest of the low, you know, our most familiar people of Team Rocket, who get blasted off all the time, to the people who are just constantly messing with the world order and trying to take things over. I mean, sure. I don't know how many times do they have to mess that up to be like, okay, maybe let's not.
And canonically, they did make Mewtwo, who hated humanity and almost broke everybody.
Funny thing, I mean, that it's too bad they don't remember that. I mean, what's keeping them from just trying again? Like, whatever happened to that Mewtwo project we were going to try?
All they see is a blown up lab.
That. Yeah.
What happened here? I guess we got to start again.
I don't know who worked here, but we're going to build here. So yeah, Team Rocket.
Nice. I remember I also heard like a theory where what's the guy's name that heads Team Rocket, that he's like Ash's dad. And that's
Giovanni.
Why, yeah, that's why like he keeps Jesse and James on him, so that like is on him just so that he can like keep an eye on him and stuff. And one of the other theories was that they take Pokemon from kids so they don't do anything dangerous or anything like that. But anyway, that was like the idea behind it. Anyway, there's so many theories. Eventually, we're gonna have a series of our own where we talk about our theories, but that'll be a different time and place, and once we figure out the name for that. Anyway, the next group that I wanted to talk about was and this one. In the same vein as Michael, like I don't know if I'm overstepping this a little bit, and I can't really like it's a little hard for me to like remember exactly how evil this group was. It seemed like they were pretty evil, but I haven't watched Dragon Ball in a while. It's Red Ribbon Army. I
thought that was the one I was gonna take from Johnny.
I just I took it from Johnny then. I just remember this group, and it's it's so crazy, right? Like I just remember playing Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3. A long time ago, and they had this dragon arena where they brought back the guy with the eye patch, and I was like, wow. And then so I remembered when I watched Dragon Ball, I was like, wow, the Red Ribbon Army was actually like a big something, because when you meet Dr. Gero in Dragon Ball Z, you're like, who the fuck are the Red Ribbon Army, dude? Like,
and they got that like classic ribbon on their their foreheads.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, dude, who the fuck are the Red Ribbon Army? And then you start to realize their legacy kind of continues through all of that. But I just remember how badass they were at one point. They were like the biggest villains in Dragon Ball until Piccolo entered the fray, and then that was like the final villain of Dragon Ball. But either way, I mean, they did a lot of like ruling until one kid with a tail just decided to just fuck up all their shit and wreck them. But that does not mean just because they weren't successful, it does not mean that their evil intentions were not there. So that's why I'm putting them on this list.
Yeah, I mean, though they are like a global superpower. So I mean,
exactly.
It'd be my number 2, just because Dr. Gero just threw off the entire world making androids,
and still was like, I'm for Red Ribbon Army.
Like totally, like that's branding. But oh man, I don't know. At a certain point, you got to chill.
That's good branding.
Everyone's dead. Like they killed him.
Branding.
Like that's not good branding. I don't know.
I mean, it's not good branding, but it's good branding, right? Like he's getting the name of Red Ribbon out there.
No one's gonna forget that.
Yeah, exactly.
No one's gonna remember Dr. Gero
when they write the histories. Okay, I think that gives me a step in the right direction to go up. Again, I'm looking for organizations, so I will, when we do our lightning round, I'll just throw in all the other ones. Yeah, and maybe we can talk about villain groups another day. So we're gonna go up a step. I think it's time to go to the League of Villains. I think the League of Villains with the movie that just came out, and well, I guess that wasn't the League of Villains, but with the series that have come out from My Hero, funnily enough, I saw a theory that was laughing about that. That they're like, "Ooh, here's a strong theory: All Might is Deku's dad." I'm like, "Shut up." But they're on a global level, but don't have the people to be global, so they're just harassing Japan at this level. But they have enough power to take down cities, which in the grand scheme of all the people we've talked about so far, like Team Rocket, Red Ribbon, like a lot of these organizations don't quite have the power to take over a full city, but are basically like terrorist organizations, right?
Yeah.
Like they can make strikes, they can take down powerful leaders, but they don't have the power to like sit in a place and control it with the amount of people they have. Funnily enough, the League of Villains absolutely does, if not just from the power of Twice, like from what we've seen from Shigaraki, like he absolutely has the power to lock down and fight an army almost by himself. So with the additional powers of all the League of Villains, the Doctor that's there, and like, I mean, his mentor's not there anymore, but I mean, still somewhat there. They definitely have the power to lock down a city and control it. So I would put them a little bit higher than the organization we've talked about already. Not for the amount of people, but for just sheer power. And they suck.
Speaking of power, mine. See,
Mine?
now it's my turn. Mine might be a little over the top. I have chosen the Frieza Force, and they are. I feel like global power is almost too small, but that's the thing. They just kind of go around the galaxy, wherever they feel like it, bullying people out of their planets, and then I think selling them back, or they just sell the planets to the highest bidder.
Yep.
If they
that's
can't
what they do.
withstand the
They kill
tyranny of the
everybody and
Frieza
then they
Force.
sell the planet.
So, I mean, I just think that's crazy. They're an insane, and they've been around for apparently a good long time. I mean, a couple arcs at least. I mean, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see, I guess, how far that goes. I mean, there's multiple roots of this family apparently. You know, you got Cooler, you got what was their dad's name?
Cold, I think. King Cold.
That's it, King Cold.
Yeah.
So yeah, Frieza Force, man.
Saw another weird
They're
theory
scary.
that was talking about that Frieza's just still a kid.
Well, I
And
can see that.
he's eventually going to grow up to the size of King Cold.
Oh,
But
interesting.
I don't know. That's a little weird. Also, I agree, Johnny. I think that's I don't know if I have one that exceeds the power of the Frieza Force.
In terms of scope, pure scope, and everything.
Pure scope and power. I mean, like,
Yeah.
geez. Well, good job, Johnny. You win today.
There we go, man. That's the end of the video, guys. You know, I was struggling to figure out if I wanted to put this one on here or not. I mean, it is an evil organization, but it's really it kind of floats in between those two realms of you know, like good intentions, evil,
Mhm.
you know, whatever. But we all had to mention this at one point, dude. I was just waiting to see if you guys would or not. The Ikatsuki, we have to talk about the Ikatsuki at some point. It has happened, but you know, this started off as like a really goodwill organization. But then got mixed up through, you know, trauma and all that kind of stuff, and you know, the infighting between villages and stuff, to the point where, you know, they just want to basically take over the world, and to the point where you know, they wanted to basically take all the tailed beast power and basically just sell it off to nations so that they just could keep on fighting, but they're the ones that control the tailed beast too. So it's such a weird concept, but like, you know, when you actually hear their explanation of it, it almost sounds like doable, which is kind of like scary, right? Or it sounds like it could work in some really fucked up way, which I think is how like a lot of the tyrannies in the past have started, right? It sounds like a really good idea, or sorry, it sounds like you know their logic is sound until you actually like put it into practice and you start putting into the fact that you're gonna have to kill millions and millions of people and all that stuff. But yeah, I think the Ikatsuki, just because of it changed so much from like when it first started to the point where it was like kind of the progenitor, the start of basically like the whole fourth Ninja War and even what happened after that. But yeah, anyway, you guys want to do a lightning round real quick, and we'll. 'Cause
Yeah.
I just realized I haven't talked about like a lot of these ones. I didn't realize there were so many
Well,
organizations on here.
what's great though is I think we've all stuck to what kind of my classification of an organization is. It's more run like a
Yeah.
business, and it isn't just a group of people who are evil, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, an easy one that's on here. I guess my closest one was the Great Tomb of Nazare, is like that's a little bit still a group, but I mean, their organization is like it's like leader, then we trickle down. Example like this. I guess an easy one would be, let's see, like the Demon Moons from Demon Slayer.
Yeah.
Like they're not an organization; they're just a villain group because they're not like actively building up or something like that. Anything that's like Team Rocket. And I would also say like the Frieza Force isn't inherently evil. They're just bad people who are doing bad things, but they're not like, we're going to take over the galaxy. It like, they're literally just a bunch of mercenaries who are just working for Frieza.
Yeah.
So it's like pretty straightforward. And same with Ikatsuki. Like they're an organization
Yeah.
who are building up to something. To finish that off, my most evil organization I have on the list is Britannica from Code Geass.
That's a good one.
They're an entire government, and like literally in a sense like that kind of white supremacy like type of like British people that's like up there is like only us can control the power, no one else, and you who are below us shall die. Very like awful human beings who are literally living for the sake of immortality.
Yeah.
And everything they do is terrible. They've committed genocides. They've literally classified an entire nation of people as a number. And they've slowly taken over the world just to have them under their foot. And everything they do is bad. And which is why like the actions of the characters who are in it could be deemed morally wrong. I mean, especially because one of them caused the a mini like slaughter of a lot of people. But I think for the most part, Britannica is a terrible, terrible place full of terrible people who don't understand the morality of what it is to be a human. They're just like, well, you're all you're all toys. And yeah, I think that's the top of my list. Anything else would be the Monster Association from One Punch Man.
Mm-hmm.
Which is an association. I'm just not sure how it works.
Mhm.
Not at all. And then to run my list real quick, we got the CP9, we have the Big Mom Pirates, we have the Blackbeard Pirates, we have the World Government, we have the Celestial Dragons, and the Don Quixote family.
You did have a lot of One Piece on there, didn't you?
Yeah, the worst by far are the Celestial Dragons. They're a bunch of assholes. Fuck those people.
Wow.
Agree.
Real quick, Michael. Isn't it Britannia?
Yes.
Oh,
it's
okay.
Britannia.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Britannica is from something else.
I was gonna say, isn't that like the dictionary or like one of those weird?
No. There's another one that's Britannica.
Oh, damn.
I just don't remember. There's a lot of like British.
Yeah, because I heard you say
Britannica
it.
is the dictionary.
Yeah,
but,
I was gonna say I heard you say it, and I was trying to remember that guy that shoots himself like for Britannica. That doesn't sound right. That's weird. I was like, I didn't think about that, but okay. What about you, Johnny? What are your organizations that are left?
Man, I don't really have a lightning round actually. You kind of took it. It was going to be Red Ribbon Army.
Okay.
I did a last minute change and I switched it to Team Rocket. But yeah, I was just going to say Red Ribbon Army for, exactly the reasons we said. And don't make androids. Don't do it. Actually, a couple things I learned. Apparently, Android 16 is based off someone in the Red Ribbon Army, which I guess that makes sense if Dr. Gero is in that place too. So I don't know. I just forgot where he was based off. I knew it was Dr. Gero's like son, but as far as him being in the Red Ribbon Army, I forgot. So yeah, man.
Damn, dude. So I got a couple here. I'm trying to remember exactly what everybody said, so I don't. The Espada from Bleach. A little bit. I wouldn't call it an organization exactly, but it kind of goes along the same lines as the Ikatsuki in the sense that like it's just a bunch of people that came together. But whenever they're around that big like oval table, it kind of looks like an organization, so it sounds like it. This one's a little different. It's more like a family, but the homunculi from Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, not exactly an organization in that sense, but in the sense of like them organizing together to try and achieve a goal. The Eye of the Midnight Sun from Black Clover. This one, dude, don't even get me started on that one. That one's a weird one. As Michael said, the world government, the Navy, whatever you want to call it.
Dude, F those people.
Yeah, because there's so much like corruption in them that it's hard to. I mean, even you have even admirals being like, "Yo, you guys are fucked up, bro. Fuck you guys. You're even working with some of the worst pirates." And then the last one I had on here. Oh, actually, God Hand from Berserk. They're just fucking weird. So that Ragnarok from Kenichi, the Mightiest Disciple. Bunch of like kids who are like really good fighters that kind of bully people. Okay, it doesn't sound like an organization. It sounds like a gang at this point. But either way, we're.
I kept the Phantom Troop from Hunter x Hunter off my list for like the same reason.
There's
a group.
I had a feeling there was one in Hunter x Hunter. I just didn't know. Because there's one in all shonen, bro. Every single shonen has an organization at some point that is trying to do something crazy. We got to fight them individually at some point for some weird reason instead of going to war with them. And each one of us is going to be able to fight them from least to greatest and all that good stuff. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening and or watching the casual discussion. Remember, you can check out all things casual at the link tree in the description box down below. Also, if you'd like to email us, you can email us at animecasuals with an S, real, REAL, at gmail.com. But as always, guys, don't forget to keep
it
casual.